Good morning.
Good morning.
We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Yes?
Yes.
And of course you know exactly what you are wanting. And you have enjoyed ever so much the contrasting process that has brought you to this clear desire. Of course, especially that. You are enjoying your leading edge perspective.
Yes.
You are beginning to settle into the idea that you were born to focus energy, and that all of the resources of the universe support you, respond to you, answer you. Oh, what a good place you are. And of course, the contrast that sometimes seems to confound you helps you to focus, helps you to clarify. For without a variety of options, some wanted and some not wanted, you could not conclude. In fact, you could not even say what it is you do want if you did not have some reasonable awareness of what you do not want. And as a focuser, you came forth into this leading edge environment knowing it would be so and eager to get to the task of focusing. Not because focusing needed to be done, but because focusing is inevitable. And the satisfaction of focusing is so enormous because in this attraction-based universe, when someone focuses, something happens. In the focusing of your attention, you are concluding individual preferences. So when you conclude an individual preference, source, all manner of energies, answers your conclusion. In your physical human terms, you say, ask and it is given. But sometimes we think that you do not realize that the asking is not a verbal thing. It can be. But the asking is a vibrational thing that sometimes your verbiage matches. In other words, when you say, I want something, it is not your words that are the asking. It's the desire that burns within you. So sometimes a desire for something burns within you. In other words, you'll have clear awareness of what you want, and it's often while you're standing right in the middle of tremendous clarity about what you don't want. What you want and what you don't want are so inextricably tied together. So out of this meshing, molding, mixing process of contemplating what isn't wanted and what is wanted, out of that is born within you a personal preference that is the asking. Sometimes, once that awareness is born within you, whether it's a conscious awareness or a cellular awareness, because there are all levels of consciousness within you who are aware and who are asking, once that awareness is born, Source answers it immediately. Every time, no exceptions. But you, in your human conscious form, sometimes are so aware of the mess you're in. You're sick, there's something happening with your body, your finances aren't going well, your relationship isn't what you want. You are so aware of what is that even though you're asking for something different from what is, you don't let in what you really want because you're so involved in being aware of what you've got. So the best way to explain this is a 3-step process. You ask, source answers, you let it in. But if you keep asking, if you get stuck in step 1, where is it? Why doesn't it come? Why don't they know what they're doing? Why doesn't it happen? Why don't you do something differently? Why doesn't this go away? Why doesn't this come? As you are so aware of where you are, you hold yourself in this vibrational place where you cannot possibly let in what you're asking for because you are so aware of where you are. And just like your radio signals, you can't offer and receive opposite signals or different signals. When you've got your tuner set to 98.6, you're going to receive 98.6. You're not going to get what's on 101. Even though you might like it better, if your tuner's not set there, you're not going to hear it. This is an electrical universe, and you are electrical receivers, and you must align your vibration to your desire. And when you do, with great ease, those things you desire flow easily to you. So no one or nothing or no situation, no circumstance, there has been nothing ever that has ever prevented you from anything you want. Only you. Sometimes you say, well, it's hard not to notice what is. And we say, it's pleasurable much of the time to notice what is. We're not encouraging you to not notice what is. We're just encouraging you to be more selective about the parts of what is you notice. Here's a multiple choice question. Pick one of the two. Do you choose truth or untruth?
Truth.
Do you choose feeling good or feeling bad?
Good.
Do you choose truth or feeling good? That's the corker, isn't it? Because as you have trained yourself to be as true as you can be, sometimes you face the reality that is factual, it's truth. There's evidence, there's history, there's an X-ray, there's a past experience. And as you face what is, you hold yourself in vibrational harmony with what is, which means you're out of harmony with what you desire. You cannot get what's on 98.6 if your station is set on 101. So, this workshop is about recognizing that you get to choose. Through time and through your observation of your experience and others, you've developed some vibrational habits. You call them beliefs. We prefer to call them vibrational habits because it makes it easier for you to think about changing them. Someone sat in the hot seat one day talking about some core beliefs. Core beliefs. They sound so core, so unchangeable. And we said, if you want to talk about core beliefs, let's talk about who you really are. You are a lover. You are worthy. You are expecting of all good things. If we're going to talk about core, let's really get back to the core of that which you are. Let's not talk about that stuff you've picked up along this physical trail. Some of it serves you, some of it doesn't. In fact, most of it serves you. We are not wanting to open you up and take out everything that you've learned along your way, a sort of lobotomy procedure. Because there is so much that you have picked up that serves you. Look at the way you live. Your lifestyle is wonderful. Your expectations of well-being are among the best that we see worldwide. But you do have some expectations or habits of thought that you've picked up that aren't serving you and that do not belong within your vibrational pattern. And in most cases, you don't even know how they got there. You just keep perpetuating them sort of because it is. It's like laying your hand on the hot stove and saying, this is really painful. And someone's saying, then why don't you remove your hand? And you say, I don't know, I'm just used to doing it this way. And they say, but doesn't it hurt? And you say, yeah, real bad. And they say, well, why don't you just take your hand off the stove? And you say, well, actually, it's a family thing. My whole family does this. In fact, everybody I know does this. And there have been a few who have removed their hands, but they've been shunned by the community. And so I think it's better to just suffer. What we're wanting you to realize is that you've picked up some patterns of thought that we could call dominant vibrations or dominant thoughts. So when you think about some major subjects in your life, like the subject of dollars, when you think about dollars, however it comes up, whether it's receiving the bills in the mailbox or being in a beautiful place where you're wanting to buy something lovely, when the subject of dollars comes up, does it feel to you, the feeling that moves through you, does that feeling feel like freedom and fun and adventure? Or does the feeling that moves through you feel like worry and hardship and struggle? You can tell right away. You probably have some of all of those feelings, but you know which ones are more often there. When you think about your dominant relationship, does it feel like freedom or bondage? Does it feel like fun or struggle? You can tell which thought you've practiced When you think about your physical body, do you feel flexible and vital and full of energy? Or do you feel tired and lethargic? Are you optimistic or do you worry? What is your dominant feeling about your body? We want you to sort of pay attention to the way you feel as we are moving through this day, because we want you to come to the realization that the reason that you feel whichever way you feel is because, for whatever reason, you've been practicing that way longer and it has become the more dominant vibration. So you are now, because of law of attraction, more likely and more easily able to get there. The reason that the vibration that is dominant on those subjects, or any subject, is the dominant one, is because you've activated that vibration more often. And by activating it, we only mean you gave your attention to it. So we say, you have something going in your experience that you don't want. And we say it's because you keep activating that thought. And you say, well, how do I deactivate that thought? And we say, you can't. You cannot deactivate a thought. Then what do I do? If I've got a thought activated, how do I not activate it? And we say, you activate another thought. Because when you try to deactivate that thought, whatever it is, you don't deactivate it, you activate it. So you have to turn your attention to what you would like to activate. And by giving your attention to it, this is activated and this isn't. So the balance of thought within you, those thoughts that are dominant thoughts, are only the thoughts that you have activated more often. And what begins to happen as you deliberately activate thoughts and develop a vibrational resonance within your own vibratory circulation, so to speak, what happens is thoughts that don't match this more and more dominant vibrational pattern that you're developing, you don't have access to anymore. So things you used to think about and worry about a lot become less a part of your thought process. Now, it's possible that you might run up against someone who will activate it again, temporarily. But those experiences will become fewer and fewer and farther apart until before you know it, you will begin to deliberately, consistently activate vibrations by your choice. Sometimes we hear you, or Esther hears you as she is working on editing a tape or listening to something after the fact. And she will hear you talking about issues that you have lived, sometimes very powerful issues when you were younger. And today, they're still so present in your vibration. Even Esther will find something activated within her that really has nothing to do with her now life. But something will stir it up, and it is so uncomfortable. And then she got all huffed up one day, and she said, Abraham, I can damn well choose my own vibrations. And we said, well, we had hoped you would feel more positive about it than that. But it is a very good first step. In other words, step one, you know what you don't want, which is how you know what you do want, which is your awareness of what you're asking for. So, the predominant theme of this gathering here today, that which will assist you more than all other things put together, is if we can help you to understand that you can choose your own vibrational patterns. And when you do choose your own vibrational patterns, you are the deliberate creator of your own experience. The effort that we would ask you to make is not about trying to control your experience, but instead about allowing the well-being that is natural to you to be your experience. Now, here is the basis that you just have to get. We will not leave here until you get it. This is the most important thing that we could ever give to you. Well-being wants you. Well-being is the order of this universe. You have to know that when you look at the way your planet spins in its orbit. Don't you think that's big? Don't you think that's big? And don't you think it's worth thinking about? In other words, think about this platform on which you are creating. Think about the food process. Think about the environment. Think about this environment in which you are focused. It's extraordinary and it's abundant with well-being. And while there may be pockets where well-being has been temporarily disallowed by the activation of thoughts that don't allow it, it does not change the reality that well-being is huge. Well-being wants you.